I told my mom how jealous I am of my half-siblings, and now she won't stop crying. I'm 16. My mom had me at 15, and I basically grew up with my grandparents while she finished school, got a degree, married her husband, and built this whole life 2 hours away. I don't say that with bitterness. I used to. But I've had a long time to understand the math of it. She was a kid. She couldn't take care of a kid. My grandparents could. So that's what happened. And honestly, for a long time it worked. She drove 2 hours every single weekend. Not most weekends. Every weekend. She'd show up Friday night with some little gift. Nothing huge. Just something she saw and thought of me. A keychain. A book she thought I'd like. Candy she remembered was my favorite. She called me her special guy, and I ate it up completely. I actually used to introduce myself to people as her special guy when I was little. Like, that was my title. She made it to my games. She knew my friends by name. She knew which teacher I liked and which one gave me too much homework. She was present in a way that didn't make sense for someone who technically didn't live with me. I never felt like I was missing a mom. I felt like I had one who just commuted. Her husband was decent too. Took me fishing a few times. We did a camping trip once that I hated, but I stayed quiet about it because I could tell it meant something to him. He tried. I'll give him that. When I was 10, she had her first daughter. I was at the hospital and I told myself this was fine. This was good. I was a big brother now, even if we didn't live together. My grandparents said this was a happy thing, and I believed them. But something shifted. The weekends started getting shorter, then less frequent. She went from every week to twice a month to just holidays and then just the major ones. I told myself she had a baby. Babies are exhausting. This was temporary. It would even out once things settled down. It didn't even out. 3 years ago, she had another daughter. By that point, I had basically stopped expecting the weekends. I'd stopped counting the games she missed. I still had the nickname, but it felt hollow when I was the only one she wasn't physically there for. I was still her special guy on a screen while her daughters were her special girls in the same house. The thing that kept me steady through all of it was the plan. Since I was probably 12, maybe even younger, it was understood that when I was ready for university, I'd move in with them. She said it. Her husband said it. There was a spare room, and everyone just casually called it my room like it was already settled. That room was the constant. Everything else could get quieter, and I could absorb it because the room still existed. That was my proof that I was still in the plan, still in the picture, still accounted for. Then last week, she FaceTimed me, and I could tell immediately that something was up. She had that look she gets when she's excited and trying not to show it before the reveal. She said she had big news. She was pregnant again. I said congratulations, and I meant it. Then she said it was a boy, and she was smiling huge, and she said now she'd have 2 special guys. I don't know what happened in my face, but she saw it. She stopped smiling and asked what was wrong, and I don't know why I didn't just say nothing. I'm fine. I'm happy for you. I've been saying that for years, staying quiet, adjusting down, telling myself the gaps didn't hurt as much as they actually did. Instead, I just said it, all of it. I told her I spent 6 years watching her give her daughters everything she used to give me. The weekends, the games, the attention, the nicknames. I watched it all transfer over one by one, and I didn't say a word because I kept telling myself it made sense. Babies need more. I was older. I could handle it. I was fine. I told her a new boy meant the room was probably gone too, that there was no version of this where I still fit, that I'd been holding onto that room like a lifeline, and now even that felt uncertain. And then I said the thing I didn't even know I believed until it was already out of my mouth. I told her it felt like she had built a real family, and I was just the rough draft she left behind before she figured out what she actually wanted. She went completely silent, and then she started crying. Not tearing up, actually crying. She had to hand the phone to her husband, and he ended the call. He phoned me about an hour later. He wasn't yelling, but I could hear it underneath his voice. He said I was wrong, that I had it wrong, that they would never just cut me out. My grandparents heard what happened, and they're furious. They keep saying I don't appreciate everything she gave up, that I made her feel like a failure when she worked so hard, that I should have just stayed quiet. Maybe I should have, but she never came back on the phone. She never texted to say I was wrong, and I keep turning that over, because if I was wrong, really wrong, she would have said so.